What's up, guys? This is Gabe from S&P Innovations, and today we're going to talk about the differences between the Elite 550 and the Elite 750. This is probably our number one question we have, and there's some confusion going on in regards to what ECU do I need. To sum it all up, is real basic and simple: four-cylinder, six-cylinder. Can you use this on a four-cylinder? You probably can. I don't see why you can't. You use this on a single cylinder if you wanted to. That's basically the biggest difference. Now, this Elite 550 and Elite 750, they have the same functionality. They both have a single stage nitrous output. They both have a boost control output. Both have anti-lag functionality. They both have launch control functionality. And as far as the rest of the inputs and outputs, they have the same amount of DPO outputs, and which is digital pulse output, and same amount of AVI's analog voltage inputs. Trigger patterns capabilities are exactly the same. The functionalities are exactly the same. So it's kind of the number one question. So to rewind this about a little bit back in time here, when Haltech first came out with the Elite series ECUs, the very first ECU they came out with was the Haltech Elite 2500. The system that they had back in the day before that was the Platinum series, so this was their entry level to the Elite series ECUs. And that was the Elite 2500. And as they grew that platform, they expanded into the Elite 1500. Then they came out with the Elite 750. So the Elite 750 was actually the very first single connector ECU. If you haven't seen one, these are actually pretty neat. So you can tell I got decent sized hands, I guess, but Elite 750 really is not that big. We have one communication port right there. Internal map sensor is good for 4 bar, which is about 43 pounds of boost. And a single connector, amp connector, the same connector that all Haltech ECUs take. So when they released this system, we had already came out with the 22RE adapter harness kit. We actually created two of these kits in the Platinum Sprint 500 ECU. That was before these were released. So as soon as these were available, well, let's just make that in a newer, better ECU. And we did. We came out with this system here. And it's worked. It's worked pretty solid. And then at some point, Haltech side decided that we needed to have a four-cylinder ECU, something that's a little more cost effective. Price difference about $300 between the two. It still has the same CAN bus communication, same 4 bar map sensor, and takes the same connector and the exact same wiring. The only difference is this. This one here has 4 ignition outputs and 4 injector outputs. And the Elite 750 has 6 and 6. That's it. So going back to the story here, Haltech released the Elite 550, and we were excited. We could provide something to our customers that was about $300 cheaper, so that saved the customers money. Functionality is exactly the same. At the time, they were limited on functionality. They didn't have as much as they do now, but still, they were equal in functionality. So COVID comes around and computer chip shortages happen. I'm sure everybody remembers that. So they went away with the Elite 550. And they did that for about a year and a half. And in that time, we were scrambling. We were trying to keep the prices down as low as we can to our customers. And unfortunately, we had to raise prices back up and offer the Elite 750. As they re-released the Elite 550, we were told that it could be a limited time. Kind of depends on computer shortages and or chip shortages and component shortages. And over that time, they've had some shortages, but they've reconfigured some things. And here we are years later, we still have the Elite 550. So that's basically what it comes down to, is they are the same. For the 2RZ, 3RZ, the 22R guys, all the four-cylinder stuff, SR20, KA24DEs, Elite 550 is the way to go. For the 2JZs, 5EZs, this is the way to go. You can't do, like if you were to do a 1GR, you really couldn't do like a 1GR because you have to have a single output to control both intake cams, depending on what year it is, and that's too much load on both for both solenoids and phasers off of one channel. So that one gets to be a little technical, but 5 EZs, 2 JZs, yeah, no problem at all. Um, that's about it. It's a real basic, simple setup. Super neat, super clean. We try to keep the cost down as low as we can to the customer. No sense in charging an extra $500 for an ECU when the 550 does exactly the same. So they do have flex fuel capabilities, which is super cool. So if you want to do a flex fuel sensor, some E85, you can definitely bring that into these things. If you're looking for traction control, no, they don't have traction control. You can't do drive-by-wire. Flat foot shifting, let's talk about that. Can't necessarily bring like a strain gauge in, but you can do flat foot shifting. When I was racing my 240SX back in the day, I'd bring it up to the start line. As soon as I got my stage beam on, clutch was to the floor, pedal was to the floor, and gear was in we were in first gear. And as soon as I dumped the clutch, I never lifted the gas pedal at all until I crossed the finish line. So I just pumped the clutch, hit that gear, pump the clutch, hit that next gear. And every time I did that, it took the RPMs and brought it into like a launch control RPMs, which decreased it just enough to help get the synchros lined up right. So flat foot shifting, yeah, you can do that. It's just a basic setup. Basically, just using like a launch control input. Keeps the booster up and keeps the RPMs up. Knock control, there is no knock control inputs on these things at all. Not on the Elite 550 or the 750. These ECUs do not have a G meter. Actually, I don't think any of the Elite series has a G meter. You can wire one in potentially. I'm saying that I have not done one on the Elite 550 or 750, but it should just be an input anyway. So if you have some type of a G meter, you can definitely wire that in. 550 and Elite 750, yeah, they have internal data logging, just like the larger ECUs. The memory isn't as big as the larger ECUs, and you can only record up to 10 channels. And your sample rate is adjustable, how many samples per second. But the internal data log is limited to only 10 channels. So that's important to note as well. Yes, it does have long-term learning. What long-term learning is when you set a target and you have a control function, right? And if the function isn't meeting the target, then the computer can do some long term and make some corrections. So yes, and it works really well with the idle control. So when you're doing idle control, you have a target RPM, and then you have your base duty cycle for your idle output. It depends on what style you're using, what type you're using. If you have a target idle of, let's say, 800 RPMs, and you're at 925, yes, the long term inside will bring those RPMs back down. It does have short-term fuel trim corrections. Both of them do, which means if you have a target airfuel ratio of 14.7, it sees that you're just a little bit on the rich side. Yeah, the computer will pull that down. Of course, that's all set up and configurable inside the computer, and how fast you want the response time to be, and also how much of a correction you want it to make. Now, short-term fuel trim is an instant fuel trim correction, not something that's saved. So it's just an instant. That's what short-term fuel trim is. It saves it for that moment, but it doesn't continuously store that save that percentage of change. So that's your short term. It does have long term fuel trims, and it does work okay. We don't normally do long term, but the long term works, and we have done some testing with it. And if I do ever leave the long terms on, you're going to see a maximum correction of like 5%. So that means the entire map is done. But if I know that they're traveling, I give a plus or minus 5%. This way it can store that, and then the short-term fuel trims are doing what they do. So that does work as well. Trans brake. This does not have trans brake control. So if you run a turbo car with an automatic and you're trying to do a trans brake input and then you're trying to bump it and stuff like that, this does not have that function. If you do have a trans brake button on your car and you're using one of these computers with a turbo car or something like that, or a nitrous car or NA, whatever it is, and you do have a trans brake function, you can bring your trans brake function into these Haltech computers, and you can bring those in as a launch RPM. So you can incorporate that stuff with it, and that works pretty well. You just can't use like a bump feature or something like that. These systems won't, these computers won't have that. The Elite 1500, 2500, S2, S3, those do have it, and it works pretty well. Race timer is a neat function that you can enable inside of the Haltech computer systems, and you can enable a race timer, and you can have that activated by a button, conditions, throttle positioning, launch RPMs, whatever you needed to do. So that's pretty simple. But these ECUs, the Elite 550s, 750s, they do not have that. Another thing that they don't have is a PDM. So everything that you're going to trigger, like if you're going to trigger a relay, fuel pump relay, something like that, or a fan relay, remember you have to trigger that negatively. You can never wire a fuel pump or a fan or anything directly to the ECU. These don't have a powered output, so you can't control that other than through a relay. And then we always recommend negatively triggering a relay. This does not have enough positive current to activate your typical ISO relay. Okay, Wi-Fi. The Nexus series ECUs, all of those, including the Rebels LSs and the Rebel 2JZs and the RX8 Rebel, those all have Wi-Fi. And what Wi-Fi is an antenna that comes out and you can connect through either the Wi-Fi on your laptop or use the Haltech Connect app on your phone. And with the Haltech Connect app on your phone, you can actually see and monitor all the cool stuff that's going on and make changes as well, which is actually really, really cool. But unfortunately, with the Elite series ECUs, we do not have that ability. So there is no Wi-Fi or phone app or anything like that at all. You can run your dash, your digital dash, your Haltech dash. And here's something to talk about. So all Haltech ECUs run a CAN bus network. CAN bus network's pretty cool because you can stack as many devices as you want. It's just stacking on 2 wires. So if you want to bring EGTs in, you do that through a module. That's it. That's real simple. The dash, the wideband, all that stuff is all CAN bus. Keypad, all that stuff is CAN bus. And it doesn't matter what size the ECU is, all that stuff works on any of the Haltech ECUs from, I believe, even a Platinum series Elites and the Nexus. So that's pretty neat. So if you're running a WB1 wideband module, because you got to run a wideband module, they don't have in these ECUs, the Elite 550s, any of the Elites, Elite 550s, 750s, cannot wire a wideband sensor into the ECU directly. You have to wire it into a wideband module, and then the wideband module communicates with the Haltech ECU via the CAN bus connection, right? So the wideband module has 2 ports on it. It doesn't matter what port you plug it into. Either one of those will work. In the second port, you can use that for your multifunction CAN gauge, your Haltech IC7, your Haltech UC10. You put a switch pad on it. You can do a CAN hub expansion and put all of it on it for those guys that like to party. So that's a neat feature as well. Like we talked about, the Elite 550 has 4 ignition outputs, and the Haltech Elite 750 has 6 ignition outputs. You don't have to use all 4 or all 6. If you have a 4-cylinder with a distributor like the 22RE trucks, we just use a single ignition output. That's all we need. What's really cool about these is that if you're using one single ignition output to trigger your igniter, trigger that coil, and you're firing all the spark plugs and everything's all groovy the way that it should be, that's great, because now you have ignition output number 2, number 3, and number 4. You can actually use those to trigger something else. You can use those outputs to activate something else. You need to trigger a second fan relay. That's great. You can do that. If you do have a drag card, you're doing a shifter output, you can use each of those to trigger a separate shifter output. So they're configurable not for anything, but for a large variety of features and functions. So that's a really important note there to take. So in the Elite 750 is the same way. If you have a 6-cylinder and you got a distributor, you're using one ignition output, you can use the other 5 for something else. And the same thing applies to the injector outputs. The injector outputs, you have 6 injector outputs, but if you got a 2-cylinder ECU or a 2-cylinder engine, you can use this. If you only have 2 injector outputs, the rest of them you can still use to activate separate functions. Lights will pop on in your dash. If you need to use that, you can. On our 2RZ, 3RZs, we use the Elite 550s, and we have on 2RZ, 3RZ will come in a distributor motor. It'll come in a 2-coil motor, and they come in a 4-coil motor. We use ignition outputs for separate functions and features if we needed to. So that's pretty common. Okay. And then to talk about the versatility of this, we have this on a good friend of mine, Bill Chambers, land speed motorcycle. He has a Harley Davidson land speed motorcycle, and we have Elite 550 on it, and that's a Harley, so it's 2-cylinder, and we're able to read all kinds of functions and features and pressure sensors and stuff like that. So it's a very versatile ECU. It's not just for, this is a six-cylinder ECU. You can still use it for a 2-cylinder Harley, just like what we did. Works pretty good, in fact. That's basically it. That's the whole thing. There is no difference in functionality. It's just one's a 6-cylinder, one's a 4-cylinder. So that's it. That's all we got. If you guys like this content, please do me a favor, like, subscribe, ask some questions down in the comments. I'm always happy to answer that. Sometimes John answers them under my name, of course, under SFP Speed Innovations. But drop a comment if you guys got some questions. And if there's something that we didn't explain correctly or we could do better, please let us know. We can redo another video. Stay tuned. Thanks, guys.